Gaza Strip for a single day, and in the last few days it has been doing so around the clock. In this context, the death toll surpassed the 35,200 mark without counting all those buried under the rubble. The government of Spain denied entry into its territorial waters to a Danish flag vessel carrying armament bound for Israel. Russian President Vladimir Putin held a press conference in the Chinese city of Harbin, where he attended the Russia-China Forum on Inter-Regional Cooperation. He made reference to the conflict with Ukraine. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrera from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. Israel has not ceased its bombing of the Gaza Strip, where the armed forces have already killed more than 35,200 people, not counting bodies still under the rubble. The most recent attack have been perpetrated against the teleSUR refugee camp in the center of the Palestinian enclave. The occupying forces also destroyed the school of Al-Joni, where hundreds of displaced people were sheltered, with health authorities of the enclave confirming at least 4 children died. In the last 12 hours, the rescue and civil defense brigades also reported destruction of 50 Palestinian homes, all of them occupied. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees denounced the forced displacements of more than 630,000 Palestinians from Rafah due to the Israeli attacks. The international organization expressed that this imposed displacement hasn't stopped since last October 7, 2023, when the Zionist state began its genocidal offensive against the Gaza Strip. In this context, the agency added that the city of Deir al-Balah is the main refuge for the Palestinians fleeing from Rafah in search of safety. On the other hand, in the last 24 hours, Israel has committed four new massacres against Palestinian families in the Gaza Strip. The Zionist occupation attack have left at least 31 civilians killed and 56 injured. Doctors and rescuers report that there are still people under the rubble of buildings and others scattered on the roads by the bombardments. The number of journalists killed by the Israeli army in the Gaza Strip has risen to 147. According to the Gaza government office, the media workers killed by the Israeli in recent days are Hael al-Najjar, editor of Al-Qasad Media Network, Mohammad Janjouf, photojournalists for the Palestine Post website, and Motaz Mustafa al-Ghafri of the Palestinian Media Corporation. The regime in Tel Aviv is trying to repress the exposure of its actions against the Gaza Strip and is attacking the media such as Al Jazeera, Palestine TV, and Main News Agency, Al-Quds, and Al-Yaman. News agencies have also been victims of the Zionist aggression. The Union of Palestinian Journalists criticized the silence of the International Criminal Court in the face of the Israeli aggressions. On Friday, the Spanish government denied entry into its territorial waters to the Danish flag ship Marianne Danica, which has carrying arms to Israel. In this sense, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs prevents the ship from making a docking in Cartagena. Previously, Spanish social activists request a similar measures from the cargo ships working, but the Public Prosecutor's Office rejected the request because the cargo was destined for the Czech Republic.
I have publicly announced on many occasions, including in Congress and in the Senate, on behalf of Spain, our decision not to agree to any new licenses for the export of war material to Israel, and this decision we have taken to reject this ship is consistent and follows the same line.
On Thursday, 13 foreign ministers from different countries signed a request for Israel to stop the ground invasion of Rafah. In this sense, a German media reported that the joint document signed by the foreign ministers of Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Japan, Canada, and others called on the head of the Zionist diplomacy, Israel Katz, to ask the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to alleviate the devastating humanitarian crisis in Gaza and to open all the border crossing, including Rafah. It is worth highlighting that neither the document nor the request was followed by the United States. Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, held a press conference in Harbin City, China, within the framework of the Russia-China Forum on Inter-Regional Cooperation. There, he referred to the conflict with Ukraine. Russian head of state closed his first international visit on Friday after his opening on May the 7th. Putin stressed the importance of the agreements expressed in the extraordinary joint declaration with President Xi Jinping, in which they make clear that the status and threat of main emerging countries and regions of the global south and their concerns of surgeons. The Russian leader further reaffirmed the sincere willingness to reach an early exit of the conflict with Ukraine, noting that his soldiers are winning every day and that the operation in Krakow are proceeding strictly according to the plan.
What is happening now is that the current authorities in Kiev have their origin in the coup d'etat. This is the origin of the current Ukrainian authorities. By allowing this coup d'etat, by having favored and helped in this coup d'etat, they created the conditions to turn a latent conflict into a real conflict.
President Putin also referred to the illegality of the sanctions that the United States imposed with impunity on sovereign countries.
Sanctions against third countries are twice illegitimate, because if they are accepted without the permission of the United Nations, they are already illegitimate. And when they are made against other countries, the third part is already something extraordinary. It's the United States or European countries that take these sanctions even against their own allies.
French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin confirmed on Friday that police shot at men dead who tried to burn down the synagogue in the north of the country. According to the minister, that the incident took place in the city of Rouen, the capital of the Normandy region, as the attacker clearly wanted to destroy the temple. For his part, the mayor of the city, Nicolas Meyer, stated the suspect climbed the wall of the religious building and threw an incendiary device similar to a Molotov cocktail bomb.
I have publicly announced on many occasions, including in Congress and in the Senate, on behalf of Spain, our decision not to agree to any new licenses for the export of war material to Israel, and this decision we have taken to reject this ship is consistent and follows the same line.
Brazilian journalist Patricia de Oliveira Souza revealed Venezuela's far-right leader Maria Corina Machado received $3.2 million from the U.S. lobbyists under an agreement to hand over PDVSA to Chevron if she won the elections. In an interview to a Venezuelan outlet, de Oliveira Souza provided Corina Machado and Juan Guaidó forget Links with the political advice of the world Turks holding U.S. company to subjugate Venezuela. The extreme right got cash by the Dissident Foundation to lead a campaign and smear work on social media.
Maria Corina needed money for her political campaign, so the United States government got together to give money to Maria Corina. In this sense, Maria Corina was willing to negotiate for Venezuelan oil, which the North American politicians want so much from Venezuela.
Patricia Oliveira Souza revealed that the negotiations between Maria Corina and the United States reached $3 million.
I am sure that I saw that the campaign of Corina Machado received money from the United States in the amount of $3 million. But I am also sure that they also paid Juan Guaido. When the negotiation of Guaido took place, I began to work for that office in 2021, and that is the reason that I do not have a figure with certainty of how much Guaido received. But for Maria Corina, I am sure that it was an amount of $3 million.
And in Haiti, students returned to school in the capital province after more than 2 months without classes. The escalating tensions of violence caused by criminal groups in the city kept around 200,000 students away from classrooms, with constant confrontations and multiple criminal acts being committed in school spaces. This context, in the beginning of the week and in a gradual manner, the neighborhoods of Dalmas and Pichonville, among others, have allowed students and teachers to return to the facilities. On Thursday night, another local candidate was murdered in the south of Mexico. The victim, 28-year-old Lucero Lopez Maza, was running for mayor of La Concordia municipality in the state of Chiapas. In the incident that took place at a gas station in the community, 5 other people were murdered and at least 2 were so injured. Lopez Maza, who represents the Chiapaneco Popular Party, was the daughter of Ataulfo Lopez, whom an organized crime group attacked a few weeks ago, murdering several of his workers and burning vehicles. These events took place hours before President Andrés Manuel López Obrador and his Guatemalan counterpart Bernardo Arevalo were to hold a summit meeting in the state to discuss issues related to migration. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to join us on our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on the screen and to join directly and share that link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. With financial breakdown, go away. Welcome back. Palmeiras President Laurentino Cortizo will leave the government on June the 30 with a trail of problems that hit Panamanian people, especially the most vulnerable population. How do the people see his legacy? We'll tell you.
The Cortizo government increased the debt by 87% in just 5 years. When Cortizo assumed the presidency in mid-2019, the country owned $24,000 million, and now it has soared to more than $50,000 million.
La alta deuda externa. ¿Sí? Eso
The high foreign debt. Why? Because the higher the foreign debt, the harder the conditions imposed by the international financial organizations. And this has a direct impact on the country's finances.
The PRD administration raised the Panamanian debt from 30% of the GDP to 60%. Most of that debt is placed in bonds in U.S. banks. 20 out of every $100 of the year's state budget is spent on debt service alone.
High indebtedness, corruption, which we cannot deny that we also had, high inequality. All of this has contributed a lot to high inequality inequality to the point that Panama went from 5th or 6th place to 4th. What is this in terms of world inequality? That is a terrible legacy for this society.
On the other hand, Cortizo began his mandate amid protests, like those of 2019 against failed electoral reforms designed by businessmen. These continued throughout his mandate for various cases of corruption, the high cost of living, and extractivism.
This is a government that unfortunately developed in its last phase what we can call a policy of bill passing. Because the social movement showed an organization and tenacity of struggle that was expressed in the last 2 years, in 2022 and in October 2023, against the mining project.
Analysts agree that the reading of the past elections also includes a terminal phase of this protest that led to a punishment vote.
The majority of the popular vote, the most impoverished, those who felt the brunt of the effects of the pandemic, of the disaster of how the pandemic was handled in Panama, which led to the unemployment of hundreds of thousands of people and the bankruptcy of thousands of businesses. Small businesses, those people, their main problem, and the polls showed this, was not corruption, it was unemployment.
The government transition begins on June 3rd in preparation for D-Day, which is July 1st, when Cortizo leaves the Palacio de las Garzas.
Para TeleSUR, desde Ciudad de Panamá, Reca Chandiramani.
And now shifting topics, in football news, on Friday, Brazil was selected as the host country of the Women's World Cup 2027. Precisely after the Congress in Thailand, FIFA announced the host city for the 10th edition of the Women's World Cup. For the first time, the Confederation Congress held an open vote with the nation winning with 119 votes in favor, ahead of the joint bid from Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. Brazil would thus be the first country in South America to host the tournament. Regarding the event, FIFA said that the exact dates will be announced in due course. The Asian Confederation of Football reinforced its support for the Palestinian Football Association aims the Israeli war on Gaza. During the 34th Asian Football Conference, the Confederation Congress, the body's President Samal bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to the Palestinian Association in the face of the systematic Israeli violations. In this sense, Al Khalifa noted that it is his duty to support the Federation and that they want a swift and effective resolution to the situation in accordance with the rules, regulations, and statutes of both the Confederation and the FIFA. And the Ethiopian Athletic Federation announced the official list of athletes competing in the Olympic Marathon in Paris, led by world record holder Tigis Azefa and three-time Olympic champion Kenenisa Bekele. Azefa will lead the women's team with a world record time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 53 seconds achieved in Berlin 2023 marathon. At 27 years of age, the Paris Games will mark the athlete's Olympic debut. For his part, Bekele, who is recognized as one of the best runners in history, is returning to the Games for the first time since 2012, qualifying after his excellence reigns in the last London Marathon on April 2021, when he finished second and stopped the clock in 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 15 seconds. And now in culture, the Ministry of Culture in France returned 2 painting sites from Nazi to their rightful owners. Recent research has revealed that art dealer and rightful owner Georgier Schuderman was forced to flee from Paris in March 1941 to escape anti-Semitic persecution. To finance his escape and secure his livelihood, he had to sell several paintings, among them Renoir and Sislade, since these works were bought by a German art dealer who sent them to Germany, where they were found after the war. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok. From TeleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.